So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's been a while since we've done a thrift flip video, right? Yeah, it definitely has. So it's that time again, finally. I have a lot of items, because you know I thrift a lot. So as you can imagine, I have a lot of things piling up. So we need to do a thrift flip video. So let's get right on into it, because honestly, we need to get this done. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, we're going to start off with the faux ceramic vase. So I've done this technique before, but basically it's just your desired colored paint mixed with baking soda. Now I didn't have the color that I wanted, so I'm actually mixing white with a beige color to create that color that I want. So when mixing this up, I always kind of look for a certain consistency. So I'm looking for a consistency that almost looks like a frosty or like a milkshake. So I just mixed equal parts paint to equal parts baking soda, and as you can see here, I'm painting the inside of the vase first. This was just to make sure that if I had any spots that I missed, you couldn't actually see through the actual vase itself. And honestly, I liked the color, the way it was coming out, so I could have just been done with it and just painted the inside, but I kind of wanted that texture on the outside as well. So I'm doing that all the way around without touching the webbing itself. Though I don't want to lie to you guys, I want to be honest with you guys. I did, in fact, screw up a couple of times and actually paint the webbing, so that kind of broke my heart. But I did my best to clean it up, and it is almost not noticeable. So as you can see here, I'm just painting the top rim of it. Anywhere there is glass, I basically painted it with my mixture just to make sure everything was covered. Now, painting in between the webbing was by far the most difficult thing for me to do. I don't know why, but I do not have a steady hand. Like, anytime my hand needs to be steady, it shakes. So, of course, as you can see, and you will see in clips, I do accidentally get paint on the webbing. Now, the other thing I will mention about this mixture is you want to work relatively quickly with it, just because of the fact that the consistency changes after a while. And with this piece, I also had to do a second coat, and with the second coat, you want to make sure that you're mixing a new batch of the paint and the mixture in order to repaint it. So last but not least, I just kind of flipped it over, applied my second coat, and then I just made sure that I was painting the bottom as well. Not something you'll ever see, but I just kind of wanted to make it consistent all throughout. Alright, next up we have my basket that I have turned into a pendant light. So this basket was from my very first thrift haul, so it was a long time coming for this DIY. But I am starting off with macrame scraps because I have a ton, and I decided that I was going to loop them on the bottom of my basket to kind of create a little bit of a visual design of some sort. So with the macrame cord, what I'm doing is kind of just making an upside down U and threading the end pieces through that to create a loop. And I repeated this all the way around the basket itself. Now taking a ruler, I'm just measuring out 4 inches and then cutting my macrame cord down to that size. Honestly, I think 4 inches was a good length. However, if I were to do this again, I probably would cut it a little bit shorter just because the design itself kind of looks a little long. So continuing on with this process, I'm just cutting every single piece until all of them are the same exact size. Now for the design itself, I wanted to incorporate wood beads, however my macrame cord was a little too thick, so what I ended up doing was gluing the wood bead down to the macrame cord. She ain't the cutest, but hey, it works. Also, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm taking the macrame cord of one loop and then connecting it to a macrame cord of the other loop. So I had to connect it to the other piece just because of the fact that if I didn't, it wouldn't create those triangle shapes that I was looking for. And a tip for you if you're ever working with macrame cord or some type of string, if you have frayed ends, you can always glue them down. It makes it a lot easier to work with. So once I was done with the design, it was time to flip it over and kind of just get it all straightened up before I put the pendant light in. So you'll see here the moment I realized that the hole was just too big. Yup. Yeah. New plan. Use wire to connect it to the basket. So your girl struggled a bit putting this together and trying to get it as even as possible. It is still not, but I screwed it on and then awaited to turn it on, and you will see in a few moments. Last but not least is the Boho decorative tray. So due to the fact that it was too dark out and I couldn't show you spray painting, I'm going to snap and show you that it's black now. But let's move on to the design now. So I'm using my white paint pen and I'm going to start making a design. So using a ruler, I just wanted to create equal distance between the lines, so I'm just marking where they need to be spaced. So once those points were marked, I just moved on to creating the lines themselves. So I'm just using the edge of the ruler to make sure and draw my line as straight as possible. Also, do they even still make flex rulers anymore? Like, I remember those being big as a kid. Like in 4th grade, that's all I wanted. Moving on, now I'm going to be using the ruler to help me create 4 dots where my arrows are going to be. So here's a close-up of me pushing down on the paint pen, which is what you're not supposed to do. Not sure why I thought that wiping it up would just make it go away, but yes, I did touch it up with paint later on. So for the design itself, I'm just using this piece of cardstock and angling it so that I can create the line. So I'm just completing the design on the other side and making it a mirror image of itself. Also, a tip for you if you want to recreate this, just make sure that you're working in a mode or method in which you're not actually dragging the piece of paper over a line that you already just traced. I smudged a few lines as a result because I did not adhere to this. So I chose this design because of its simplicity and because of the fact I just liked the way it looked. My arrows are definitely messed up in some places, and I will say that it's not as forgiving as some of the other boho designs, but I will say that I really do like how it came out anyways. Last but not least, I'm just taking my paint and covering over the places where I need to touch up where the white kind of bled through. So even as I was creating those angles, there's just some bleed through that I had to touch up, but it was really satisfying to see it kind of come together once that was all complete. And to ensure that the paint doesn't chip, you want to use something like a polyacrylic, something water-based, to seal it. Guys, that is it for the thrift flips today, but thank you so much for watching. These were some pretty simple and easy thrift flips, but I hope they inspired you if you're interested in flipping some home decor items or maybe tackling something bigger. Definitely go for it. So if you liked this video, definitely make sure you give it a thumbs up. Obviously, it's great to get a like on a video, but likes for me, for my videos, give me more of an indication of what you guys want to see, and as a result, I tend to make more of those videos that get the most likes. So definitely make sure if thrift flips are something you want to see more of, that you give this video a like. And if you're new here, if I pass that vibe check for you, definitely make sure you're subscribed and you hit that little notification bell so you're in the know when I post again. But thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!